Business from the Best Boat Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Deacon. And guys, today we've got a special guest lined up. First of all, I'm not on our traditional mic and headphone setup. That is because I am having technology problems, and that's just how things seem to go. It's crazy how that all works, but anyways, end of the year here, so excited to get this guy on to talk about a market that I'm personally passionate about, and that's the bass boat market. We've got Josh Roller coming on. Josh Roller is the CEO of bassboatforsale.com, has a lot of the impulse on kind of where the bass boat market is going, where things are at. So I'm excited to kind of do a year-end review on his information with everything in the bass boat world, which we know is a crazy market. So let's see if we can get him in here. Ooh, this way. Josh, what's going on, man?
Hey, Adam, how are you?
Good, man. I'm doing well. How are you? And I guess, man, you're not. It's not even like cold where you are in this time of the year, is it? It's perfectly normal.
Well, it's Florida. We had a front come through yesterday, so starting the mornings out at 51. North Florida, 40s. So this will last a couple days, but this is probably the last front of 2021, and then you'll get into January, February, March. First and foremost, thanks for having us on the show and year-end wrap-up. It was a pleasure doing the first show with you. I believe it was early this year. I don't believe it was
Yeah.
2020. I believe it was the first month of 2021. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming back on the show. And
Absolutely.
that's exactly right. It was earlier in the year, and it was cool just to see the concept and everything that you had going. And now, thought it'd be cool to get you on to talk about kind of a year in review and really get your insight and expertise on the
Sure.
bass boat world. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, man.
So
And
go ahead.
so
Go ahead with start firing
yeah.
off the question.
All right, man.
Rapid fire.
Let's go. Well, man. So first off, I guess just personally and or with the brand itself, with Bass Boat for Sale. I mean, did you guys see a large, would you say, uptick or normal, more than average sales in 2021 that went through the site, or what did things look like for
Yeah.
you in 2021 compared to previous years?
Sure. I will start that with a simple answer. The marine industry and outdoor industry has grown. It is not a secret. It skyrocketed. Unfortunately, the pandemic is a terrible thing, but it has brought a lot of new buyers and interested individuals into the outdoor world. So whether it's RVs, whether it's trucks, boats, canoes, uh, fishing, archery, weaponry, getting outdoors. Obviously, you can see in any business journal talking about the marine industry has grown. Parts are hard to find, supply chain shortages. You're seeing that now versus 2020. So 2020, people were buying boats like crazy, and it was just everything was selling out. So 2020 was obviously a record year. 2021, we're actually finishing out. I know that we need to wait to literally till January 1st because that is the last day of the year and where we officially close out. So boats running all the way up to and numbers running all the way up to that. So right now, obviously, we are at a higher point than we are last year, but I won't have those final numbers. But simply to answer your question, are boats selling? Yes, they are. Are boats listing? Yes, they are. What you've seen in the market, which I talked about on a couple different um, social interviews, whether it's a podcast, a YouTube, an Instagram, whether it's a phone call that's recorded, um, is as a subject matter expert, I'm not the market. I can't adjust what the market's going to do. I can make a very professional prediction, but the
Sure.
market is the market and it's going to do what it's going to do. And so, what we saw day in, day out, 24/7, 365 in 2021 is that pre owned boats appreciated, went up between 10 to 12%. That is unheard of, unprecedented. I'll throw another number out there for you. Now, this is what we see. These numbers are flexible. They're not set in stone. So you might hear from marine dealer A in California and say, my numbers weren't like that. And marine dealer B in Florida all the way across to say, well, I was at 13, 14%. So this is a rough estimate. On new boats, you saw about 7 to 9% increase. These increases obviously are no mystery. They're from supply and demand, and the more boats being available, prices come down. Less boats being available, prices go up. It wasn't like, recapping from our first session, it wasn't like 10,000 boats got destroyed or were sold in some sort of fire or accident or tornado. It was just people were holding on to them. So that's the short answer. I want to try a little bit different approach than our first show because I want to be able to get more questions in than being very passionate and long-winded.
No, man. Well, here's the deal. People are here to listen to you. That's the whole thing with the show. It's not to listen to me talk. So, but I appreciate that. And yeah, it's crazy to me. I really looked at the thought process. As you know, I just purchased a boat here at the end of
Yes.
2021.
We talked offline about that a little bit. I'll let you. I'm not going to steal your fire.
Yeah, no, man, yeah, but I ended up going with a Phoenix 2018 721, and it's an awesome boat, and I really looked at going the new route versus the used route, and really kind of was playing with different numbers in my head, and it was interesting to get your thoughts on some of that. One
Sure, go
thing,
ahead.
well, one thing, like, talking to a lot of dealers right now, it was like almost a rush to get an order in because sometimes it's taken a really long time to get something out to you. And B, there's a price increase. A lot of these manufacturers, these boats, like you're saying, as prices go up, that's why it's making it, in my opinion, more valuable on these used boats. That's why they're going up too, is because guys don't want to fork out another 5-10 grand than they bought their boat. If they're switching boats 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's like, wow, this price increase is massive. Rather than being 7 to 9%, like you're saying, it may be 7 to 9% this year, but maybe it was 5% last year. So really, it really is going up over time periods. But I
Sure.
guess I just wanted to get your thoughts on. I mean, do you see the market to continue that way, where new boats are just going to be at a rapid rate, kind of following inflation, or what are your thoughts going forward?
Excellent question, first and foremost, and I'm going to answer it in two parts. You talked about inflation, so I want to address that second. Uh, we're talking with our industry partners. I'm not a name dropping individual. It's just not how I operate or the business operates. But speaking with our people in the industry, the manufacturers reps, sales, dealers, what you're seeing is basically the cost of resin on fiberglass and aluminum, the
Mm,
cost of materials raised. So when cost of materials raise, prices raise. When supply, so that goes to supply and demand and having materials to build the boats. So fast forward, and I want to be able to have that dialogue and discussion. Fast forward, now you're seeing more hulls being produced, where that seemed to blockade where you're having the holes, and it's now the motors. So
hmm
that is, but again, this is doc talk. So you talk to person A and they say, I got a motor, I didn't have a problem. You talk to person B and they said that, well, I'm on a waiting list and I can't get a motor, I got a hole. So basically, boats are selling faster than they can get the new boat already ordered. Now, those wait times for that new boat, that's going to be a 2022 or even 2023. Typically you would see, I'm going to throw out a number there, 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 3 to 4 months. But as things loosen up, which they will normalize at a certain point, it will get back to normal. But your production line boats are way different than your boats that are made one by one. And obviously, we went over those manufacturers and brands and the differences in the previous show earlier in the year.
hmm
Where do I see the market going? recapping, I see a normalization. I see the the bass boat market eventually, just like the housing market and the automotive market and anything, eventually having a self-naturalization or a self-adjustment, a readjustment, meaning that inflation, if inflation, if if inflation continues, then this trend will continue. If the interest rates go up, then you're going to see some of the prices maybe coming down because the interest rates are higher, meaning they're making the money on the interest versus zero interest. Now that is an F and I thing, so I really put that on our finance partner, but I don't want to misspeak about saying like, hey, Josh said about a market analysis. Well, he misspoke. They're saying if the interest rates go up, prices go down. I want to be very clear, talking about the boats and supply and demand. So as you can expect, if we continue on this increase, you will continue to see an increase on the news on all national platforms, even out of the marine industry. They're speaking about businesses saying, hey, we can't hold the line absorbing this cost anymore. We have to increase the price. Okay, so fuel, gasoline, what planes, trains, automobiles, diesel engines, boats, everything runs on fuel. When fuel goes up, the cost to ship something goes up. I mean, this is all a circulating effect. I don't want to dive down that road because it takes away from the bass boat talk, but yes, it's circular. So we've seen this in the past. It needs to get, it's above our pay grade, but we have to adjust as needed in the industry. So that was talking about that. Now talking about we talked about inflation. We talked about where we see the boats for the future. Now that's why I separated that out. Now, secondly, I want to direct answer your question that you had asked me. It says, well, I bought a pre-owned boat versus getting a brand new boat. Very, very important. So the 99%, which is now what we do, you and I and the other 10%. Now, what is the 10%? The 10% is the hardcore tournament anglers and the hardcore fishermen, the guru enthusiasts that create this culture. Now, keep in mind, the 99% customer is a recreational fisherman. Okay, so every single manufacturer, including us, including every single tackle place, bait place, is the 99%. That's the average recreational fisherman going fishing with their family, their friends, and that is the 99%. Now you have the charters, you have the businesses, you have the pro anglers. That all encompasses that 10%. There might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. Some have said that I'm conservative or giving a lot to the 10%. It's less. So where I'm leading to is the 99% want a turnkey boat, meaning that a pre-owned boat that's available right now, as boats you see on all of our 4 business platforms and the main website, bassboatforsale.com, you can go reach out to that owner and say, hey, I want to go fish tomorrow. Let's connect, negotiate the deal, close on it, and you're able to get on the water tomorrow. That means availability now to be able to go fish. So that is a huge driving force. So you or I, people in that 10% over here, I'm switching it up a little bit. You or I will say, look, I need a select boat, which is a motor, hull, and trailer. Okay, and we rig it ourselves. We'll go get whatever trolling motor we want, shallow water anchors, hydraulic jack plate, batteries. We'll rig it ourselves. We have those industry connections. We have shops that we want to work with, and we want to support our local. Not to say that 99% don't, but keep in mind who the 99% customer is. When they buy a vehicle, they don't want to have to. They want to turn the key and drive off the lot. They don't want to have to go to some specialty place and get it adjusted and get a special battery just to go drive down the road. With boating, with bass fishing, it's different. They're rigged. Now, that's why you have your standard packages, a boat that comes with a trolling motor, one electronic, and, not a power pole. And then you have fully featured where they have every single thing and every accessory that you want, and you just go straight into it. And it already has the wiring harnesses. So that answers that to exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the but. Always people are going to say, well, I want to address something that's important, and I want you to chime in on this. How many times have you seen, well, I bought that boat 3 years ago for 40,000. You guys selling that boat for 45,000? That's crazy.
All the
How
time.
many times have you seen that?
So many times, man, where someone gets mad
Okay.
about like, that it's overpriced, right? Or something along those lines.
Oh, okay. We have zero control over that.
Sure.
I want to put this out there so people are not misinformed and not have the misconception or stigma that we're not setting the prices from the manufacturers or the marine dealers or from the private owners. Okay, it's their boat and their money. As the premier bass boat listing business worldwide, we're putting the boat out there at the price that they're setting. Now, there's a caveat or an asterisk there. If the owner is so far out of touch, we will advise them as such and say, hey, you're way above market value. Your boat's too high or this or that. But here's the thing, and this is, everybody can appreciate this. If I went up to the gas attendant and they say, Mr., and I go up to the gas attendant today, let's say, I think driving to Central Florida yesterday on business, gas was $3.39 a gallon. Okay. And here in central, around that area, there was averages. I saw 336, 339, 341, 349. I passed a bunch of different gas stations. I didn't go to Costco like I should have. I needed to be somewhere at a certain time. And I'm saying this. I can't go to that gas station attendant and say, hey, John Smith, guess what? A year ago, I paid $1.99 for that gas. I want it for $1.99. He says, Mr. Roller, either you can stay in line and pay for the gas, and this is a price, or you can get out of line. There's a customer behind you. And he's going to say that very nicely. He's not going to be able to say, hey, I'll give it to you for $1.99. Here's the other flip side of that coin. Is there deals? Is there people that are willing and wheeling and dealing and not playing the market? Yes, there is. Absolutely. There's a lot of deals going on and prices are coming down. You're starting to see that. So I wanted to put that out there to set the record straight. Yes, we are in business to do business, but fire selling the boats, devaluing the market, nobody in the marine industry, specifically bass boat marine industry, wants to do that. Devaluing the market, not a good thing. So keep that in mind at all times. If the boat's for you, that is your boat. Go ahead and go out and get it. Secondly, another important topic, high dollar ticket items, vehicles, homes, boats, certain
RVs.
things.
Yeah.
Okay. Negotiate. If you're the type of individual that goes in and pays sticker price or the exact price that you saw, that's okay. And if there's no negotiations, that is the price. If you want it, that's it. Then you have to make that decision. But I will share with you from my personal and business experiences, there is negotiations on high dollar items. There is room to wiggle. Now, what does that mean? I'm not going to go into a business seminar on business negotiations and how to buy and sell. That's not the purpose of the show today. But I'm going to share with you, if you lowball offer a guy, you're basically disrespecting and saying, hey, I'm not really interested. I just wanted to see how much discount or how willing you were willing to go.
Sure.
So, if you see OBO or best offer, or if you see the price is 50,000 and you offer the guy, 40,000, he's going to say, hey, I can't come down $10,000. But if you say, hey, look, I'll do 48, that's where I'm financed for. And he says, hey, I can come down to 48. So the boat was listed at 50, but you got it at 48. So you were able to negotiate. So there is a book out by a famous person that's called The Art of the Deal. So high dollar items, there is room for negotiation. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes there's a line of 10 people to get that item, and they say it's first come, first serve. I can't control that. The business can't control that. You can't control that. But that was what I was speaking to about the market. Okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are a part of it, but we can't control what the market's going to do. Just like the stock market, they're influenced by many individual things. What the question that I want you to ask me
Yeah.
is basically, what do you see for 2022 and 2023?
Yeah. Well, no, for sure. And before we move to that, that's what I had down is asking you about 2022, 23. But like what's interesting, you say like the 90, I think you meant to say the 90 and the 10%, or you're saying the 99 and the 1% maybe, but the 90-10, like, so my thought
Yeah,
process,
yes. There's
90-10.
two. Thank you for correcting me. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. There's the
No.
90% and the 10%, and then there's the 99% and the 1%. So they overlap a little bit, but thank you for correcting me on that. You're
Sure.
absolutely right.
No, and so like uh, my thought process when I went into buying a boat, I really was looking at either going new or very slightly used. And like you said, I don't mind rigging my boat. I actually enjoy it. I enjoy seeing how everything goes together. I've rigged my own graphs on boats in the past, and the reason, a big reason, right, for the here and now is like, okay, I can go get this boat. It's colors that I like. Been really well taken care of. It has all the latest and greatest graphs. It has lithium batteries. It has, all these different things that I was going to have to do. And I thought to myself, okay, what's my opportunity cost here, or the time that I would be spending rigging this boat? And by the way, I have a tournament I had to fish in December. So does it make sense for me to just go snag this boat, get it dealt with, or wait and have the possibility of more delays? And who knows too? I mean, you're seeing graphs and everything else have delays as well. That's kind of why I ended up basing my decision. Now, that being said, I will say like you said, things seem to be loosening up. One thing I did start to realize after talking to these different manufacturers and these different dealers is, like you said, some guys are waiting on the glass of the boat. They're waiting for that the actual hull to be built. Some guys are waiting on the motors, right? And you're seeing that like on the drive, by the way, from fishing Alabama. I drove by Tracker, Nitro, all the stuff in Missouri, all these different plants, and you saw thousands of pontoon boats without motors sitting there. It's like, well, they're waiting on motors, and so all these different things. But what's interesting to me are these backside that I think some anglers don't realize, deals where certain manufacturers have worked out deals with boats to where, hey, we give you, because you sell so many boats, we're giving you all our motors first, and vice versa. Maybe if it's a smaller manufacturer, well, they're kind of catching the end of it because all the Mercuries or all the Yamahas or whatever the brand may be getting built are going to those larger guys first. Then it goes to the smaller dealer or the smaller manufacturers. Then it goes to consumers. That's why you see guys like, I see guys on Facebook groups all the time that are like repowering their boat, for instance. You see those guys are waiting 6 months, 8 months maybe on a motor because they're the last in line, right? They're gonna take care of the guys that are selling most of their motors first. That was just an interesting point that I've learned over the last year in this industry is there's some stuff on the backside that I don't think consumers are completely aware of.
So I'll basically answer that as PC or as a talking point as possible.
Yeah,
It should be first come, first serve, but as you stated, I think that is the question and the answer right there. And I was speaking with a business colleague yesterday, and I think this best answers it, is that there's going to be um, certain businesses that get an item as a premier or preferred distributor versus someone else who's smaller. And I
mm,
think that's just business.
I agree.
Excuse me, that is just business. Now, on the social side or the personal side, what is fair and what is not fair, as the premier listing business, we have no basically dog in that fight.
Sure.
So I can't comment as Best Boat for Sale to say, why does marine dealer A in California not get a motor for their customer before marine dealer B in Texas?
Yeah.
So again, I think you said something that is important.
Hmm.
Does it get talked about a lot? I mean, I also think that also happens in other industries. Why does supplier A get product before supplier B? They probably move more inventory and they have a higher, ROI on investment. Again, that's just business. But when it comes to, serving the customers there, which is the 99%, it shouldn't be, a who's who, and it should just be, hey, my order was placed at this time, I'm in line first. So
Sure.
does that happen? Yes, it does happen. Does that overshadow the majority of how the motor manufacturers and how the boat manufacturers operate on a daily to day operation? No, it does not.
Mm.
So, from what I've seen in person, they are and I want to speak positively to this question or to
Sure.
this topic. The boat manufacturers do not want to say, hey, person A, you only get this, and person B, you get 15 of that, and you're my buddy. I'm going to pat you on the back. I'm looking out for you. They want to serve all the customers because that's in their best interest and behoove them. Secondly, if a dealer or distributor has an order in, this is something that you might not see or might not know because not everything is always out there. And you
Sure.
opened up Pandora's box on it. They might have an order in for 50 to 100 of a unit already deposited down.
Hmm.
Okay. Meaning that they have already placed an order and said, hey, I want this. That's why they might be getting it before the other person. And
Sure.
that's also a natural answer.
Hmm.
So I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to go. I drive a Toyota Tundra. A lot of guys do. And everyone has their preference on vehicles. And this is a very quick, short story.
Yeah.
Coming from the automotive world and working for Lexus and Toyota direct and the distributors for many years in a previous life, um, if a new vehicle was coming out and you put a deposit down on it and you ordered that, when it came in, you were the first to get it.
Mm.
Just plain and simple. So as the new 2022 model redesign and brand new Toyota Tundra has come
Yeah.
out, I'm seeing now it was slated. Now I'm not speaking out of turn or misinformation. It was slated to be start delivering more in 2022. I think February, March, April. But you're seeing a few select in the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. You're starting to see a select few say, hey, I got my first one in
I've seen some.
2021.
Yeah.
I've seen some. I haven't seen one on the road, but I've been seeing
I've seen
pictures
one
of
on
the
the road.
circuit. You
Hmm.
have? Okay.
Yeah. Here in Colorado. Uh-huh.
So the that really covers that forwards and backwards. Um, to be able to speak to that topic as a subject matter expert, um, whether or not you're waiting on a motor or a hull on a brand new order, yeah, that's part of the process. That's part of the process of dealing what we're all dealing with right now. Whether you're waiting on a part, you're waiting on a boat, maybe it's a trailer hub, maybe it's a speedometer or electronic sensor. We're all in this same boat together. And so if you're waiting on a hull, you're waiting on a hull. If you're waiting on a motor, you're waiting on a motor. That's just how it is. Focus on your lane and not focus on what other people have and what they're doing. But at the end of the day, business is business, and everyone has to take care of themselves. Govern yourself accordingly. If you feel that you're not being taken care of fairly, there is the right support channels to go after. So I don't want to dive down any more deeper down that rabbit hole on that.
Sure.
So let's get to the next question.
Yeah, man. Well, one thought I did have, just to kind of wrap that up, would be it's interesting this year, and this is coming from my own interviews as well as just listening to other podcast interviews with pros. It's interesting because everyone is thinking, okay, this is going to be such a tough year to get boats ready before the 2022 season. Now, granted, it seems like tournaments are going further out, but we're seeing pros get boats earlier and earlier. Like there's been a decent amount of pros that have said, hey, I got my boat for some reason earlier this year than I ever have. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that, or is it similar to what you're saying?
Sure.
Look, this is a personal thing. Business is business. This guy has a lot more influence. It makes sense to get it in his hands first than maybe Joe Smo down the street.
There's a lot that goes to this, and so here's the simple answer. You're
Mm-hmm.
going, and I'll elaborate on it, and I'll split it into two parts. So the certain manufacturers are working with their pro anglers to be able to get boats into private owners, meaning consumers' hands, first, and have asked pro anglers to be able to run the same boat on tour for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not a secret, that has been out already for a while. So as that has taken the timeline, you're going to see the guys that said, yeah, I can run my boat for 2 years, which is fine. And you're going to start to see them getting their 2022s, and they're going to be, as I predicted, I've already started to see this, they're going to get their 2022 and the third, fourth, fifth event of the year, and they're going to swap it out and then run that boat the rest of the year. So the 8 to 16 month where you're always getting the new boat before January. Now last year, I want to remind everyone, a lot of pro anglers, doesn't matter which series or which circuit. Some of the guys were still rigging their trolling motor and graphs right before takeoff.
It's
So I
true.
saw that in person, and they didn't have wraps on. So yes, some guys got their boats, and other guys are running the same boats, and then they're going to get their next boat. So I'm not going to say the angler's name. It's just not what I do. But we do have a pro angler's boat right now that is going to be available February 1st, or the first week in February. His new boat is coming right then. So he's running it on the first tour event, and then he's going to get his next boat, which is his 2022, and he's going to swap it out. But that's when
Sure.
it's available. So the timelines have shifted. So my prediction is you will see that, and then speaking about in the future, and then I'll jump to the second part. Speaking about to the future, you will. This is my prediction, a professional prediction, that you will see those pro angler boats, those boats that you wanted, that they will be coming available. They may be coming available mid-year, and they may be coming available next year, early into after ICAST, or they become available earlier. So you're just going to have, because it's unprecedented. This is all new for everyone. So those boats may have more hours on them, or normal hours, because they had less events. So also diving into the stigma of motor hours, a majority of guys are idling around. They're not running these boats wide open for 300 hours at 5,600 RPM. So,
Sure.
something I want to break down is motor hours. You have to be able to understand that just because a boat has 150, 200, 300, 400 hours does not mean that boat motor life is done. I'll give you a perfect example. United States Coast Guard and the guys that protect our borders on the water are running these Yamahas, Mercuries, Evinrudes, Hondas, every single brand. Majority of them are Mercuries. They're running them for thousands upon thousands of hours, always on, because they're always patrolling our water borders, and
Sure.
they're not turning them off. So if those guys and the saltwater guys are able to do that, it's the same thing in the bass. The motors are, as long as you maintain them, do your 100-hour service, proper break-in, the motors are going to last. So there's a misconception. It's like, yeah, you can say, oh, well, the motor hours are compared to the years on the engine. Um, but don't be spooked or thrown off because an engine has some hours on it. On the automotive side, most engines don't break in really until 20, 30, 40, 50,000 miles.
Mhm.
So, there is a misconception about that. The other answer that I want to give you is, well, why did Pro Angler A versus Pro Angler B get his boat before the other one? Um, you know, Again, I don't want to dive into that. That's just business, and that's part of the industry. Speaking on business from the bass boat, that's just part of the industry. It's not something I have control over, but it's unfortunate, but it just is what it is. If you took another sport, for example, they're obviously going to get LeBron James or Tiger Woods or any other sports star at the highest level. They're going to get him his product and his equipment first, other than the guy that's a rookie that's nobody knows on tour who's
Sure.
brand new. They've also paid their dues, and they also have
Big
they're
platform.
higher,
Yeah.
their platform, they're higher up. It's just, you're talking about classes, and everyone should be equal. But in the sport of bass fishing, it's
And
it's
live.
it's not and life. It's not you competing against other anglers. It's you competing against the fish.
Mhm.
So always keep that in mind. So I mean, you did open up Pandora's box on things that might not be talked about a lot, and I'm happy to answer those questions.
Yeah.
Um, I feel confident in what we discussed on those,
Yeah.
and you know, unless, uh, but here's the real kicker.
Okay.
Here's the real kicker. This has been going on for a very long time. It's not new, and it's not being discussed for the first time here. It might be just
Sure.
be out in the open. It might just be being discussed more casually, where we can discuss on it on a high level, a high adult level. Now, people
Mhm.
might comment or they might, say this or say that, but that's just how it is. That's just life. Look, if you want to go get that truck first, and he says, "Hey, it's 67," and the guy says, "Well, I'm going to pay 69." Some automotive dealers are going to. I'm not even saying what truck it is. Some are going to say, "No, he paid. He's got his down," and he's saying, "Hey, it's first come, first serve. It's a bidding war."
Oh, for
So
sure.
that's society and that's human behavior. Again, I can't change it. I can only try to influence the court of public opinion.
Yeah, and that transcends all industries. So I agree. I think maybe why it's maybe coming to light more now is because we're seeing that lack of product, and that's what makes sense in my eyes. But man, I wanted to get your thoughts,
Sure, go
especially
ahead.
with the current timeline, as far as boats and motors. What are you seeing on your end of things, as far as through your selling platform? Bass Boat for Sale. What are selling the best when it comes to bass boats? What are you seeing? Why does certain, or is it
Okay,
a certain brand, or what models? I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you've
sure.
seen recently.
Absolutely. So I will first and foremost start by answering all boats sell at the right price for the right buyer.
Good answer.
Secondly, so that's just a straight. I'm a straight shooter. People who
Yeah.
know me personally, and professionally, I'm a straight shooter. I'm just going to tell you how it is. Every single boat sells for the right price to the right buyer, and everyone has a different flavor of ice cream. I gave you that ice cream example earlier in the
Yeah, the
year.
first one. I love that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. But here's what you're seeing sell on a day to day that is selling out. So your nitros, your fully rigged nitros, they always move. Now, is
Yep.
that number one? It's I don't see that as number one. I see that as an everyday. You're always going to be selling nitros. What's moving the quickest is your Phoenix and your Skeeters.
Hmm. Interesting.
Your your Skeeter FXRs and your Skeeter ZXRs are moving very quick, hard to keep in inventory. Your Phoenix Elite Series. So
and
it
Texas.
the Phoenix Elite Series, the guys want those Elite Series. They're hard to keep in inventory. Um, Traveling down, you're getting into the PHXs and the Pro XPs. On the Skeeters, then you get into the ZXs and
Yeah.
FXs, other some of the previous model years. But the guys want the Elites and they want the FXRs. Don't get it twisted. The Basscat STS,
Yeah. Elite cat.
very high demand right now. The KMS CX21 Pro, CX20. Nitro, Z20, Z21, the new XL,
Yeah.
the new Ranger Z520R, which is a full redesign. The Triton 22 TRX. I don't want to get that one wrong because the names models are starting to blur a little bit. But
Sure.
you had three new boats come out at the Bassmaster Classic. You had Triton, you had Nitro, and you had Ranger, brand new boats.
Yep.
So you're going to see some of those come out. Don't forget about Falcon. Don't forget about Avid. Don't forget about Vexus, Excel,
Laser.
Express, Blazer. Blazer's come a long way.
I agree, man.
Pressliner. So, I mean, we could go up and down the list, but what's selling, the two that we are, almost always sold out of that go the quickest are the Phoenix Elite and the Skeeter FXR, followed by the ZXR. That's what we see now. That can change. That doesn't mean that the Ranger Z520Cs and the Z520Ls don't sell. Rangers sell. You're just seeing market shifts and adjustments. We could have a whole show just about what's selling and what's not selling, and talk about it in December versus January 15th. So
Yeah.
that fluctuates, and that's always going to fluctuate. What was the other question that you had? I think that was a two-parter. Am I wrong?
Yep. I don't remember if there was a second part, but that's you're bringing up that's a really interesting concept to me, that these higher end boats, and it may be, here's just maybe a thought
But
on
they're but
my
they're
side.
but they're also but also to add to that, to
Yeah.
not to interrupt you, but to add to that, on the pre-owned side, you're
Yeah.
also seeing pre-owned Phoenixes, pre-owned Skeeters, pre-owned Nitros.
Sure.
It's just not the brand new top of the line. But when you ask a question, hey, what's selling right now? We
Those
go
boats
to
selling.
thinking about what's new, what's off of coming out that's brand new, what's selling the hottest. Those are some of the hottest boats, and then the pre-owned. So just because it's a 2021 and you're almost in 2022, so yeah, it's a 21, now you're in 22, but that boat's still brand new. It hasn't even
Oh
touched
yeah.
the water yet. So you might have some
Mhm.
leftover. You may come across a leftover 2020, secretly hidden in a barn somewhere or in a warehouse. But um, let's
Yeah.
keep it moving. Let's keep it moving forward.
Yeah, no, and my thought process though with that, what I was going to say was like, a lot of, I think, why maybe you're seeing uh, some of these higher end boats getting bought right now is where interest rates are, right? Like if you're financing a boat, it's not going to cost you that much more. From a finance perspective, it does cost you more, but from a monthly payment perspective, which is how some guys look at things, it's not going to cost you that much more to go spend 85, $90,000 than it is to spend 70. Like it from a monthly payment standpoint. Now, one thing I wanted to come at you with, because what you kind of
Sure,
said contradicts what a conversation I had with an angler the other day that's on a deal with boats, right? He
sure,
was saying, I have considered going to a lesser class boat, a lesser, as in, okay, this is from a brand where there's multiple classes, right? Like some of these brands have, like you mentioned with Skeeter and with Phoenix. And basically, he is considered going to a lower cost boat because he said you can sell them very fast, because it's a more of a price point play, if that makes sense. On an annual basis, a lot of these anglers are trying to move boats fast. It's harder to maybe sell a $90,000 boat than it may be to sell a $70,000 boat. Now, that being said, I just wanted to bring that up and get your thoughts on maybe
sure.
the difference there.
Uh, Absolutely. So the answer, the simple answer is that there's going to be, and we've actually discussed this before, and I want to say this before I answer that question,
Yeah.
that the mentality or thought process that you need to have a $70,000 to $90,000 boat just to go bass fishing is ridiculous. You can bass fish off the bank. You can be in a John boat. You could be in a canoe. You could be in a 10,000, 15,000 boat. It could be an older boat. So I just want to put that out there. Now,
Agree.
to answer the second question, is it easier to sell something at a lower price than a higher price? The answer is going to be always yes, because
Mhm.
the buyer behavior mentality is always going to compare and contrast. That is your competition. Your competition is never uh, is never another person, is another boat comparing and contrasting what they get for that price point. That's why on bassboatforsale.com you have price point breakdowns where you have 0 to, I believe, 25,000, 25 to 50,000, and so on. I have to double check the price bracket breakdowns. So if you want to keep it in a certain price bracket, that's what you're looking at. So
Mhm.
is it easier to sell a $90,000 boat versus a $50,000 boat? I think the answer is pretty simple, that the average, the 99, is going to go for the fifth, but the 10%, they want that boat that's fully rigged out, and they may be able to afford that, and that's in their price range. Now, speaking about financing, we do have our finance partner, Vantage Recreational Financing. They've been with us for 5 years straight.
Awesome.
Do a ton of boats with Mike and his team at Vantage Recreational Financing. They're barely even close. The only day they're closed is Christmas, and they still have staff manning the man, just like us. We have staff that's 24/7. Developers, IT, CTO are always on call, making sure that everything is running smoothly. But
Awesome.
what I want to share with you is about interest rate. So interest
Mhm.
rate is based upon credit score. Obviously, we talked offline about what you do day to day. So those
Yeah.
are, that's in the F&I department. Now, the F&I
Sure.
department of boats is recreational. So whether it's a credit union, your local bank, or a Space Coast type of thing, or a recreational financer like Vantage that specializes in recreational financing where the others don't. So I speak highly about them is because they'll be able to turn it around quickly. Their rates are different. Their terms are different because that's what they specialize in. They're just not another financer that is
Mhm.
out there. That's what they do all day, every day. They're not financing a home. They're not financing a vehicle. They're financing recreational items, boats,
Yep.
RVs, ATVs. That's what they specialize in. That's what they do day in and day out, as we specialize in bass boats at Bass Boat for Sale. So that those terms, those rates, based on interest, based on credit, there's variable numbers that go into it. But if you're, that payment, so we're talking about payment, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, there's going to be a guy that says, "Hey, I don't want a payment. I want to liquidate it. I want to buy it right now, buy it out." That's perfectly
Yep.
fine. Nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. There is another buyer B, who says, "I'm going to put half down and I'm going to finance the rest." Buyer C is going to put 20% down and finance the rest, and buyer D is only going to be able to put 5% down and finance the rest. Obviously, buyer D is going to have a much higher payment than buyer A, because buyer A's payment is zero. He's paid it off. He's bought it in full. Buyer
Mhm.
B's payment, putting 50% down. So it's basically that's just simple math. The more that you put down, the less you're financing per month. So the terms on it, depending on the boat model year, go out up to 20 years, I
Yeah.
believe. Now, I don't want I
No,
don't
that's
want to
right. Yeah.
I don't want to misspeak and take fire away from our finance partner, Vantage Recreational Financing, which on every single boat on Bass Boat for Sale, you click get approved for financing. It takes you direct right there. As soon as you apply, they're going to contact you. You don't have to guess, was my application submitted? They're going to do that. So it's not just a plug, but they are a finance partner, and they are with us 24/7, 365, be able to finance those boats and get you on the water. Because I'm not going to lie, like it's just reality. The things are different now, and not everyone's going to buy the boat right out. and financing is extremely important. Hey, I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't liquidate whatever my personal to buy my truck. I put down X and I financed X, and that
Yep.
was what worked for me and what worked
Sure.
for the business, which a lot of people can relate to. They will say, hey, scratching their head, hey, I can't afford this boat. It's too much money, and they look at the sticker price, but and sometimes in reality they really can afford that boat, and if you make a double payment, you're able to alleviate some of that interest that comes up towards the end of the year. Being an F&I guy yourself, I don't specialize in. I don't know everything about it because I'm not Vantage. But
Sure.
speaking to it and having meetings and knowing it forwards and backwards, it's just like automotive, but it is different because there's different terms, there's different rates. And there's also different products: ceramic coating, electronics protection, theft. There is some people know about it, some people don't know about it. I want to just touch on this really quickly, and then we'll
Yeah.
move forward. I always wondered, why wasn't there a product like LoJack for vehicles for boats? Your boat's stolen, or something happens to your boat. It's no longer. So they actually have something like it. You just have to look where it is. So there is companies that have that product. So one company that I
Interesting.
know on a very special boat, Bass Cat, on a very special model, already has this system installed in the boat, and it comes standard. So you will know where your boat is at all times. And if the boat moves from the location that it is parked at, the alarm goes off and you're notified, and so on and so forth. But I did want to
So is
put
it a
that out there.
GPS? What kind of
It's,
when you say, is it a GPS
well,
part in the boat hidden or?
I don't want to say because there's a lot of people that watch social channels, but it is satellite based. So
Wow.
if you try and steal this boat, trust me, they will find you and they will catch you.
That's wild,
It
man.
is
I
it
didn't.
is it is not a good idea and try and uh
Anything.
steal anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that you guys, look, it's that time of the season. I know that things happen. Lock your trailers, lock your vehicles, put your locker bars out. You know, look out for yourself. Don't be a victim. Things happen. That's all I'm gonna say. Have your insurance up to date. There's not always as good of people out there as we want to think, but we also want to think there is good people out there. We've seen this happen a lot over the years, but that's life. Things happen, but I don't want to end on that. I want to
Yeah.
keep moving forward and be
Let's
positive. And what else
for
you got
sure.
for me?
Let's look into 2022, man. As a company, as Bass Boat for Sale, I know you do. You get out to the classic, and you head to different trade shows, and you have all these different people that you network with. What are your plans in 2022 from that standpoint? Traveling, where are you going to be for people may run into you somewhere? And then B,
Sure.
the addition to that, do you have anything new, you're excited about for 2022 with the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So our schedule will be posted, and schedules are always tentative because things in these unprecedented times change. So first and foremost, since this is airing, I don't want to spill the beans. Since this is
Sure.
airing on a certain date, guys
Yeah.
are already coming down to Florida. So the weather is good. We do expect the fish to be doing their thing, probably on pre-spawn and maybe some spawners already coming in as the season starts here in Florida, as
Awesome.
yearly, depending on what circuit it is, and as they move around the rest of the country. And we'll also know that based upon the weather pattern of how cold it is. But as you definitely want to have a flipping stick. You definitely want to have a variety of baits. Those cold fronts are tricky here in Florida. So we're going to be starting the year out at the Florida events, and covering as many as we can with the team and live streaming and being
Awesome.
available for services and for information. As we move to March 2022, Bassmaster Classic, that's already locked in. As we
Awesome.
move through the year, we are at ICAST. That's in summer 2022. I know that there's other events that will be occurring that we haven't released yet. But as far as your major events this year, definitely the Florida events on whether it's a high school series or a pro tour, and then Bassmaster Classic and ICAST. And as you end the year, as you wrap up the year, actually talking further, we have some business meetings with individuals, probably Pittman Creek and probably the ASA at the summit. So those are set in stone already. Those are already on there. So we'll be adjusting our schedule and putting it out there probably in the first week of January. We're
Okay.
still dotting our I's and crossing our T's. For 2022, we have some surprises up our sleeve. I'm actually not wearing any sleeves, so that joke, cut
Didn't
it
quite
out.
work, but anyway.
Get out of here, Josh. You get it. That's not really that funny. You're terrible at dock talk
You're
jokes, and
good, man.
stick to the boats and the fishing and what you're good at. But we do have some prizes up our sleeve. We don't want to let the cat out of the bag. We do have some one of a kind merchandise that we're releasing that's already in stock, and we've been waiting
Awesome.
to January 1st. So we're restocked on all of our swag and things that you can get. So obviously you're not going to be able to purchase a Bass Boat for Sale Polo. That's for staff only, but our hats are, we have brand new long sleeves. We're going to have, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to have a special edition tank top for the summertime, something that you can walk around in, and some short sleeves. Hoodies. Hoodies are difficult. I'll tell you why. In Florida, and you could say, well, you're worldwide. Yes, we are. But, hoodies are a short season here. So it's kind of like an impulse buy. If it's cold, people are going to buy hoodies. And so, just speaking on that, we don't, I'll wear my Fitzgerald fishing hoodie or my hook fishing hoodie, or a various amounts, or a long sleeve and double layer up, or my rain suit, my Gore-Tex. But
Sure.
changes coming up. I think across the board, you're going to see algorithms change going into 2022 on the
Interesting.
on the tech giants. That's been talked about, but needs to be talked about more. And you might see some design changes from us on our main website and things that we have planned. Again, maybe under the sleeve or under there. So again, I'm terrible at jokes. So sometimes I'm really funny. Sometimes I'm just flat. Right now, I'm just flat, and that's okay.
No, you're good, man.
So
Well,
that's what you can expect. You can expect a lot. So let me share this.
yeah,
And I know we're coming up on our time. You
yeah.
can expect a large amount of boats and an increased experience on the buyer and seller side, taking care of the guys that are selling, getting their boats listed, and taking care of the guys that are buying, providing those boats that are listed to you. Doing our best. We've increased our staff. We've increased all of our servers, all of our CDNs, everything to make Bass Boat for Sale the most personal and up-to-date experience that you're looking for. So if you're looking for it, it's going to be on there. So it's always important to check back, because we get new boats daily and weekly, and sometimes they go really fast. So I want to put it out there. Our record sale of
Yeah.
two record sales of 2020, 12 hours flat from the time that it listed
Awesome.
to the time that it was gone. Then last month we beat that by 11 hours and 45 minutes.
Wow.
So
That's
some
moving.
people says that's moving from the time that it's listed to contacted and already gone. Now some people say, well, I've sold a boat in an hour. I'm like, that's great. That's good for you. Good for you. But that's not from a business standpoint. So what our goal, obviously, to break that record, maybe it'll be 10 hours, but you're going to see a lot of boats. You're going to see a lot of new boats, increasing our marine dealer profile, our vendor section. We have a lot of things that we have actually held back, and for a good reason.
Hmm.
Timing, market placement. So you can expect those things to come along. and a few surprises here and there. We actually ran, so something that people, by the time this, I don't want to ruin the atmosphere, but when
You're
this
good, man.
airs, we're Christmas Day, we're giving away a Skeeter FXR
Wow.
from
Wow.
Bass from Beck from Skeeter and
Yeah.
Bass for
Yeah.
Beckers, Matt Looney. So the drawing is Christmas Day. The last day to enter is the 24th. To buy your tickets are $25 a piece. When this airs, the boat's already going to be given away. I don't want to ruin the appeal of the show, but
Yeah. You're
I
good,
do
man.
want to say I do want to say, hey, that's something that we're doing. So we've run promotions where if you purchase a VIP or a pro angler boat, you get a mega gift pack for us. So those are being shipped out now. We started that promotion the day after ICAST. We ended it December 31st. So it's up to myself and management if we want to extend that for in the future. We probably will, but in certain times we do extend those things. So doing more giveaways and
Very cool.
interacting with us, more live shows. Um, but as so you mentioned, well, what are you going to be doing in 2022 that's different than 21? Obviously we've had this pandemic, this unprecedented worldwide situation. So, highs and lows. So we adapted just like everyone else. Tony, I want to share this. Tony Robbins, um,
Hmm.
one of my personal great mentors and many others, he's worldwide known, is that
Yeah.
he never liked doing live stream or digital. So when the pandemic, he always did in-person
Seminar.
conventions, seminars.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate the help on that word there. He
Yeah.
had to adjust and adapt. He said, "I'm never going to do this. I have to be in person." Well, he called up the guy from Zoom or from the live streaming companies. He said, "I want you to make me this. I want you to have 5,000 people in a chat room." I went to his seminar about a month and a half ago in West Palm Beach. It was the first one that was live in 2 years, and he explained what he had to do to change the game from what he had said he would never do ever in his life, and he did it, and it was successful. So what am I saying? Is I'm saying that sometimes you might say something, you say, "I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to use that bait. I'm never going to run that boat, or I'm never going to try this or this thing." And all of a sudden you try it out and you're like, "Whoa, hey, I wish I would have I wish I would have done this sooner. I can't believe I didn't try it." So adapting is important, being able to stay with the trends. You want to be looking at businesses that have a full team of support. You want to be looking at businesses that have excellent customer support, that have raving effing fans. That's where you want to be. You want to be in those circles. There's a million and one websites out there. You just don't want to be listing your boat on a website that has no support and there's nobody there, and they're not even at the events. The competitors are the competitors, but I have to say this to beat, I can't beat on my own chest, but you're not going to work us, and you're not going to outdrive us because you can't sell it. It's not for sale. So the long hours, the long nights, putting in the time on the road, that's what makes it a personal approach, and that's what makes it successful. It's not about the money. It's about taking care of your customers. So focus on the bigger long term and focus on your being a product expert. So having all the manufacturers catalogs, having a staff that is connected with the manufacturers, being able to connect with them yourself, and being able to go over new product, interview, and being able to touch and feel that allows you to help your consumers. So there's a lot of places that you can put something for sale in general, but what I've learned and what I hope I can share and educate others, if you want to succeed, you have to go with people that are successful. And it's not hard to be successful. You just have to follow in the footsteps in the sand of other people that are successful. And I do believe that we are successful, but we're always learning. So we don't know everything, but we have a lot of irons in the fire in many different areas that we're able to touch upon and say, "Hey, what's going on here? What's going on there? What's going on over in the left and the right? Different demographics. What's going on overseas?" So you have to be able to have confidence in who you're listing your boat with. Are they there to support you? Are they there to be able to answer your questions needed? Can you get the CEO on the phone? Is there someone to call? Is there a team of people? Or are you just, is it a one person gig and it's just a
Yeah.
website? So, I'm not saying anything negative about others out there, but
Yeah.
what I'm simply saying is that your work and your attitude and how you put yourself out there, it's not about ego. Okay. So we are not an ego company. I'm not an ego character. We do a lot of giving back, a lot of support for the community. I'm not going to dive all into that, but that is what that's the bigger picture. And I feel that I'm a little passionate. I am, live with passion is one of my phrases that Tony Robbins says. I've adapted from him, but I was always passionate, never give up, Mike Iaconelli. But I want to
Mhm.
say this. I want to share this. I want to share this with you. Giving back is like nothing you will ever feel in your life. Giving something back to someone, whether you're helping somebody out, just putting a shirt on their back, or giving somebody, something for food, or giving somebody a ride, or showing, just talking about your boat or talking about fishing in our fishing community. You really don't know what that other person on the other end is going through. We all wear a face, and that could be a happy face or that could be a sad face. So,
Mhm.
giving back is something that we pride ourselves on, being able to work with the veterans, being able to work with the fishing charities and the kids. I'm not saying give away the farm, business is business, but what I am saying that, if you took 1% of your time and you volunteered, there'd be a lot more love and a lot more caring, and a lot, focus less on the ego and focus more on the people, and you'll be successful.
Good things will happen. Yeah.
That's the key to success. If you give it out, it comes back. Business is business and personal is personal, but there is something about giving back to your community, to your school, to your country, whatever it is, and that's important, for wrapping up, right. Today's a day before Christmas, I believe, Christmas Eve.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we're going to celebrate with the family, do a little bit of fishing. Um, thank the Lord, thank Jesus, and
Yeah.
for everything that they've done, family man and religious man, and that's what we do. So
Man,
that's
that's a fantastic. That is about as good as it gets, Josh. I always end every show with some sort of advice to someone interested in creating a business. And dude, that was juice. I mean, the biggest takeaway, and it's what's great
the
about
juice.
the juice, quite literally. Like the biggest takeaway for me with this show are moments like that where someone kind of goes through their mantra, and especially the part that I picked up on, and it's cool because now this is our second interview, and you pick up different things
and
every
we'll
time.
and we'll have third and fourth and fifth.
For sure, man. Absolutely. Absolutely we will. But one thing that you said there, as far as look, like you said, if you're someone who says, man, I will never be in that boat, I will never be doing that, and then you go and try it, I think as a society that is a very important growth mindset of having the wherewithal to say, wait a sec, like, and this is everything. This is business. This is related to politics. This is related to everything. I think it's some of that thought process of, because it was always done this way, that's fine. But think through um, giving other sides a shot, and that I think is better for everyone and everything. Of having that thought process of willing to try things out, and man, it just makes a lot of sense in my eyes with every aspect of life.
I think you really said it best, and I don't have anything else to add. I mean, if I were to say Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Dude, I'm with you. No, well, man,
So
we'll wrap.
you said it best.
Sweet, man. We'll wrap things up. Man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking the time out. Bass Boat for Sale will be in all our listings on YouTube, as well as podcasts, as far as the link goes to for guys to follow along with you and everything that you've got going, Josh. And thanks again, man. We're doing this
Thank
show
you.
right before Christmas to go out right on New Year's as kind of a Bass Boat wrap up for 2020. one going into 2022. So thanks for taking the time out, man. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas with your family.
Thank you. Same to you. And Happy New Year. And appreciate you having us on the show and the time. And I want to leave you with something.
Let's hear
it. The next time we connect, we're going to be interviewing you.
Oh, whoa. That's wild. All right.
Whoa.
I'm game.
I just blew your mind.
You switched the roles. I like it.
I switched the roles. Next time we're going to be interviewing you, and you're going to come on our show.
Perfectly, man.
Something to look forward to for 2022.
I like
Thank you again. Thank you again so much.
All right. Thanks, Josh, for coming on.
Everyone have a great holiday. Be safe, and we'll see you in 2022.